Did you know that it costs you money to invest in the thrift savings plan? Yes, it costs you money to invest in the TSP. This is something that a lot of people forget and don't realize, but there are fees associated with your thrift savings plan. Also, did you know that the fees in your thrift savings plan have since increased by over 30% in the year 2016 versus 2015? Didn't think so. This is what I'm going to talk about today. Fees from the TSP and how they've increased from 2016 from years prior. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Okay, so if you didn't know that there were fees in your thrift savings plan, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you do have to pay to use the thrift savings plan, to invest in the thrift savings plan. Now, that being said, it is very cheap, okay? Even the increase is still very cheap. And so when I talk about this, it's not so much to say that it's, grossly expensive or anything like that, but it is to keep you aware of the costs that you are paying, because many of you don't even realize you're paying anything, and those that do have no idea how much you're paying. So in 2015, your expense ratio for the TSP averaged out to about 0.029%. Okay, in 2014, it was around 0.029%. In 2013, it was 0.027%. Okay, so, and then in years prior, it was all pretty close to that as well. So it's been on this path that's very similar to, how it's been in the past. So from 2013 to 2014, it went up slightly. It stayed the same around 2014 and 2015. But 2016, we've seen a dramatic increase in the fee that you pay through the TSP. Now, what's the reason for the increase in fees? I don't really know. They don't really list the reasons for the increase of fees, but they do say what the fees are. And if you go to their website, you can find out what their fees are. They update them whenever they change. They don't announce the update, especially when it increases in price, because they don't really probably want you to pay too much attention to it. But it has increased in price. And so in 2015, like I said, the cost was 0.029%. Well, take a year forward and we look at 2016. So in the past year, the fee that you paid was around 0.038%. Okay, and I did a calculation on that, and the difference between 0.029% and 0.038% is over a 30% increase in cost. Now you may be thinking, Cooper, that's still a very low cost. I'm not that worried about it, and I don't think you should be. You shouldn't be too worried about the cost that you're currently paying, but it's important to understand that fees have increased and to be aware of the fact that you do pay fees and fees can increase, okay? Because a lot of you out there have no idea that you pay fees, and if you do know that you pay fees, well, seeing that the increase is an important thing to track to make sure that the thrift board is doing you right. Okay, because what happens is the thrift savings plan could increase fees, and if you weren't really aware of it, it wouldn't really matter until it got to the point where everybody found out, everybody was aware of it, and everybody had an uproar about it. Okay, so the way it comes down is 0.029% in dollar terms is if you had $1,000 invested, for every $1,000 that you invest, it's going to cost you about 29 cents. That's what it was in 2015. Okay, in 2016, it would cost you about 38 cents. Okay, so a very small amount. That's per thousand, however. So let's just say you have a $300,000 thrift savings plan. Okay, a $300,000 thrift savings plan is something that I think nearly every federal employee who has been employed for a significant amount of time can achieve. Now, will every federal employee achieve that? No, without a doubt. But every federal employee, I think, if they take advantage of the match and they allocate correctly, they have an opportunity to reach that number, okay? I don't care if you're a postal employee or something else. I think it's possible, okay? That said, if you had a $300,000 account in your thrift savings plan by the time you retired, in 2015 you would have paid $87 for that $300,000. So you take 300, that's how many thousands are in the 300,000, you multiply that by 0.029 and that's what you get, $87. Okay, well in 2016, that number has obviously increased, and so the number that you would be paying is $114. That's a $27 difference between $114 and $87 for somebody with a $300,000 account. That's a difference. Okay, and the more money you have in your TSP, the bigger of a dollar difference it will be, although it will stay the same as far as, you know, a percentage difference. This is important to understand because you do pay fees and they are increasing. And so the question I have is, why is TSP increasing fees? Because if they're increasing fees, typically the idea would be to increase fee because they're going to provide more benefits, okay? But they're not providing any more benefits based on the increase in fees. It could be different things in the market or whatever. I would like it if TSP would come out and say why the fees have increased or why the fees changed. There's many factors that could influence that, but exactly why they think they've changed. But this is something to stay abreast to and look at. If you want to read more about my opinions on this, you can go to the link in the bio below. Check out the article I wrote on fedretirementplanning.com. If you aren't a part of the Fed retirement planning community yet, I highly suggest you do so. You'll get ebooks, resources, all sorts of things that I come up with specifically for federal employees. Nobody else is providing these resources for federal employees, and I'm doing all of it for free, okay? So you can find those on the website as well. But this has been Cooper. This was actually a user question, so if one of you guys have any more questions, let me know and I'll see if I can do a video on it. Thanks.